like you, every single time I try to get closer to God, that's when the struggle starts to bloom, in a sense. That's when the devil is like, yo, okay, so I see you trying to get better with God. Let's try, let me try to push you away from God. Even with this meeting, like we were supposed to do this podcast like a few weeks ago, but the
It
devil
keeps on
just kept.
getting delayed.
Exactly. And the devil knows that, okay, if they are able to do this, they can bring down the kingdom of darkness. They can defeat my kingdom, in a sense.
I am Zachary Edwards,
I am Judah Baines.
and today we'll be talking about why the struggle isn't there to break you, but to build you up.
Sometimes Christian in a Christian's life, actually, there are many different things that might bring us down. It might be lust, it might be greed, it might be certain aspects of sin that might, you know, leave us there to struggle. But I think what I can say about that type of struggle is that when you're on your way to the top, that's when the devil really tries to bring you down. And sometimes the struggle is there to build you up, in a sense. Like, okay, how do I put it? There's a Bible verse that talks about God's strength being perfect in our weakness.
Yeah.
That in itself is that verse itself shows to me why it is important to stay there in the struggle and to believe God that He will take you throughout that struggle. Because sometimes sometimes the most shiniest diamonds have to go through the toughest methods, the toughest types of training, in a sense. The toughest type of wielding, in a sense. You know, like that's how I think about the struggle. But yeah, yeah.
From my past experience, like before before every major breakthrough I've had, there was a major struggle. Like back in 2021, yeah, back in 2021, 4 days before SCA, my mom got in a car accident. She almost
Mm.
died,
Um,
but I pushed through. And 4 days later, when I wrote SCA, I passed to my first choice. So
love that. I love that.
this is this
Crazy
is
one.
this is here to say that sometimes when you go through struggles in life, it's because God might just be testing you before your breakthrough.
That's true. That's very true. And like, because okay, sometimes, okay, so I'm I'm just putting that out there, right? One thing that I struggle with a lot is lust, and
Yes,
one
that's a hard one.
yeah, and one thing that, and to even be more clear, one thing that I struggle with a lot is pornography, right? Cool. So I'm putting that out there because nobody's perfect, and eventually I'll have to talk about the sins that I have done in the past, right? Cool. So I struggle with it, or I used to struggle with it, and like you, every single time I try to get closer to God, that's when the struggle starts to bloom, in a sense. That's when
Yeah.
that's when that's when the devil is like, yo, okay, so I see you trying to get better with God. Let's try let me try to push you away from God. Even with this type of meeting, be, even with this meeting, like We were supposed to do this podcast like a few weeks ago, but the
It
devil
keeps on
just kept
getting delayed.
exactly, and the devil knows that okay, if they are able to do this, they can bring down the kingdom of darkness. They can defeat my kingdom in a sense. So usually when I go through struggles, I realize that I am doing the right thing because enemies don't attack their own players, their own teammates. They attack people
The
on the
opposition.
opposite side. Exactly. Because if you are against them, they will be against you. And like and one thing I always like to tell myself when I go through struggles is that, and I also saw this quote too, thieves don't break into empty houses. What that means is that
There's something valuable inside.
something is valuable inside that the devil doesn't want you to to be able to unleash or or to be able to realize in a sense. Struggle is there to build you up because because without struggle we would never know how strong we are. That in itself is what makes a Christian a Christian. Striving past that struggle, striving through the struggle, in a sense, because you could have literally given up when you found out that your mother got into a car accident. You could have literally been no, your mind could have literally been toyed with, but you persevered, you pushed through that type of trauma, that type of news that you received, you know?
Yeah.
So I think that, like I said, trauma is there to build you up.
And another thing I'd like to say is like when going back to the pornography issue, when I had a long streak, when I made it up in my mind earlier this year, my New Year's resolution is to quit
Mhm.
by the about the 20th of January. I don't know what it was, but like right before I think that was like Tuesday. We were supposed
Mm.
to record on the Wednesday, but the devil attacked me with this like the
Mm.
strongest urge ever,
Exactly.
and I
Exactly.
unfortunately I couldn't resist.
Yeah.
But
I
now
understand what you mean.
now I'm
Yeah.
going strong for a good while.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I, I understand what you mean. And like, and yeah, like okay. Sometimes when we try to do God's work, we just get pushed right back down in a sense. And as a Christian, it's unfair, but it's okay. You know, it's okay because struggles are there to build you up, right?
Yes.
That is literally the title of this podcast, this episode. Struggles are there to build you up. So when you're a Christian and you're pushing through, you are striving to, do God's work. You are doing this, you are doing that. You are just, you know, and then the devil just comes and pushes you right back down. But the Bible literally says a righteous man falls down 7 times, but he gets back up, you know?
Yeah.
So my message today is that some people, even though, people might be going through that type of struggle, treat it as a lesson, treat it as a battle. And why? And I'm stressing on that battle because sometimes people might go through struggles and they might just give up. But just know that that struggle is a literal battle for your soul. That struggle is a literal battle for your mental health, for your health. That struggle that you are going through right now, what I would say is to believe God for it. Is to believe God for it. You know, just to believe God for the stuff that can be done. You know, for the stuff that He will take you through. You know, because obviously those struggles won't be there forever. Obviously, it it won't be there forever. But while you're in that struggle, treat it like a battle. Treat it as if treat it as like a challenge for your spiritual life, in a sense. You know? So
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
And another thing would be getting through that struggle is made a lot easier once you have a relationship with Jesus Christ. Because if you're, let's say you're not a Christian and you're going through that struggle, most would commit, well, some would commit suicide, you'll get depressed and all of that, but once you have a relationship with God, you know that there's hope and He has a purpose for your life. I think, can't remember the exact name of the verse, but there's a verse that says, "For I know the plans I have for you,
Yeah.
and to give you peace." Yes, I think
That's Jeremiah 29:11.
yeah, Jeremiah 29:11. I saw that in my devotional a few days ago.
So like
Yeah, go ahead.
struggles are literally there to build you. I know I have said that like 10,000 times, but I will stress on it again. Every time you go through a struggle, there's always a light at the end of the tunnel. There's always a light at the end of the tunnel, and His name is literally Jesus Christ. You know. So whether you might be going through depression, whether you might be going through that same porn addiction, whether you might be smoking, vaping, drinking, this and that and that, God can literally deliver you from that struggle. He can literally deliver you from that struggle. So yeah.
And most of the times, people question why God hasn't delivered them from it yet. But they forget that you also have to make up in your mind that you will not do this again. Because if God gave us the power of being able to choose. God gave us the power of choice. So if you decide that you're going to continue in those activities, God, well, He can help you, but basically, God, when you hear that little voice in your head, I would tell you to listen to it. Well, listen to the right one, because there are two. But once you have a relationship with God, you will know which voice is God's voice, and eventually you will choose to do the right thing. It may take a long time, like with me. I'm now starting to quit this porn addiction because one, I got busy. Two, every time I get an urge, I try to pray, and all of those things. But the struggle is there to build you up. If, let's say, you have a problem with alcohol, smoking, vaping, all of those things, you have to put your trust in God and believe that once you keep trying, eventually He will deliver you.
Yep. Well said. Well said. And like one last thing before the video ends, I think everybody needs to understand that whatever video you watch about these type of topics, whatever video you decide to take in, just know that what all of us are saying, it's not to bash anyone. It's just there to show that even us Christians struggle too. Even us Christians struggle with the same things that every other person on the stage struggles with. You know, none of us are perfect. sin is still out there whether you are Christian or not. And the struggle is real. Yeah, the struggle is indeed real. You know, as a Christian, there are many things that I wish could have been taken away from me. But that's when the power of trusting God really comes into place, you know. Because even though I am going through this struggle, I am still able to trust God for it. That's literally what it means to be a Christian, to trust God, to believe God in spite of whatever. You know? So yeah. That's what I have to say about that. You know? And believe God no matter how hard it might seem. Believe God. Yeah. Believe God.
One last thing I would like to say is that sometimes people think once they become a Christian or once they become baptized or accept Jesus, all their struggles will go away. No. Once you become a Christian, you now are able to, you now have a relationship with God who will guide you and help you through those struggles. But the struggles won't go away immediately. But once you stay believing, keep praying and keep trusting in God, eventually those struggles will not be there anymore, because the struggles can't go on forever. If we were struggling forever, that would
mess us up.
Yeah.
I understand what you mean, yeah. But yeah, guys, I hope that you took away something from this, and just know that this struggle is there to build you and not to break you. You know? Yeah. So keep trusting God and keep believing.
There's another verse that says, once you trust in Him, He will make your path straight. So once you keep believing, God will work things out for you, and hopefully the struggle will end and you'll enter your season of breakthrough.
Yeah.
So thank you for watching, and we hope to see you again soon.